At the beginning of World War II, the Luftwaffe looked unstoppable. German aircraft spearheaded lightning victories across Poland, Norway, the Low Countries, France, and the Balkans. Dive bombers, fighters, and medium bombers shattered enemy positions with terrifying speed. Yet, 5 years later, the Luftwaffe was destroyed. German cities were burning, synthetic fuel plants lay in ruins, and Allied bombers crossed German skies almost uncontested. The collapse was not simply military, it was financial, industrial, and economic. Germany's air force failed because Nazi leadership fundamentally misallocated resources. Instead of building a strategic air arm capable of long-range bombing, economic warfare, and sustained industrial pressure, Germany invested heavily in tactical aircraft designed for short continental campaigns. The result was catastrophic capital destruction on a national scale. The Luftwaffe became a textbook case of how poor capital allocation decisions can destroy even technologically advanced powers. The German Air Force was designed around one central assumption: Germany would fight short wars. This assumption shaped everything: aircraft design, fuel planning, pilot training, factory construction, and logistics systems. The Nazi economy under Hermann Göring never fully prepared for a prolonged industrial war against multiple global powers. Instead, the regime pursued what economists today would recognize as an extremely leveraged growth model. The Luftwaffe evolved into a tactical instrument for rapid conquest rather than a strategic force for long-term attritional warfare. This distinction would prove fatal. Inside the Luftwaffe leadership, one of the most important debates concerned aircraft doctrine. Should Germany build tactical aircraft optimized for battlefield support, or strategic bombers capable of destroying enemy industry and infrastructure? The Luftwaffe overwhelmingly chose tactical aviation. This decision shaped the entire war. German production focused heavily on the Junkers Ju-87 Stuka dive bombers, Messerschmitt Bf 109 fighters, and medium bombers like the Junkers Ju-88. These aircraft were highly effective in short-range operations supporting advancing ground forces. But Germany neglected true heavy bombers. Unlike Britain and the United States, Germany never developed a large-scale 4-engine strategic bomber fleet. The consequences were immense. Without long-range bombers, Germany lacked the ability to cripple Soviet industry east of the Ural Mountains, systematically destroy British production, disrupt Allied shipping at scale, and force enemy industrial collapse. Germany could win battles, but it could not economically suffocate its enemies. The decision was partly ideological, partly financial, and partly industrial. German military thinking emphasized rapid operational victories. Strategic bombing was viewed as secondary. This created massive underinvestment in long-range air infrastructure. Heavy bombers were enormously expensive. A 4-engine bomber required more engines, more fuel, more factories, more pilot training, and more maintenance crews. For the same industrial resources, Germany could produce larger numbers of tactical aircraft. This looked efficient on paper, but it created a classic investment trap. Short-term operational efficiency at the expense of long-term strategic capacity. One of the clearest examples of strategic misallocation was the failure of the so-called Ural bomber program. Before the war, General Walter Wever advocated a strategic bombing doctrine focused on long-range bombers capable of striking Soviet industry deep beyond the front lines. He understood something many German planners missed. Wars between industrial powers are won by destroying production capacity. But after Wever's death in 1936, the strategic bomber concept lost political support. The program was abandoned. Instead, Germany concentrated on medium bombers suitable for tactical support. This decision saved money in the short term, but it imposed catastrophic long-term costs. When Germany invaded the Soviet Union in 1941, Soviet factories were relocated eastward beyond the effective reach of German bombers. Entire industrial complexes were dismantled and moved thousands of kilometers into the interior. The Soviet Union then massively outproduced Germany in tanks, artillery, and aircraft. Germany lacked the strategic reach to stop it. One of the greatest myths of World War II is that Germany operated a fully mobilized war economy from the start. It did not. In fact, Nazi industrial management was extraordinarily inefficient for much of the war. The Luftwaffe's production system suffered from overlapping bureaucracies, fragmented procurement, constant design changes, and inefficient labor allocation. Hitler's regime encouraged competition among agencies instead of centralized coordination. The result was chaos. Aircraft manufacturers frequently produced too many variants, creating logistical nightmares for spare parts and maintenance. Germany produced too many aircraft models, too many engine types, and too many incompatible systems. This reduced economies of scale. By contrast, American industry pursued standardization aggressively. Another major problem was Germany's obsession with technological perfection. German aircraft engineering was often brilliant. But brilliant engineering is not always economically efficient. The Luftwaffe repeatedly pursued advanced prototypes, constant modifications, and technically ambitious projects. This slowed mass production. The Messerschmitt Me-262 jet fighter is a perfect example. Technologically, it was revolutionary. Economically, it arrived far too late and in insufficient numbers. The jet fighter consumed scarce fuel, highly skilled labor, and advanced machining capacity. Meanwhile, Allied forces produced vast quantities of simpler, reliable aircraft at scale. Germany optimized for engineering sophistication. The Allies optimized for industrial throughput. In total war, throughput usually wins. Many people credit Albert Speer with rescuing German wartime production. There is some truth to this. After 1942, he rationalized parts of German industry and increased output significantly. Aircraft production surged despite Allied bombing. But the so-called production miracle had limits. The increase came too late, and it could not overcome Germany's deeper structural weaknesses: insufficient fuel, strategic bombing, transportation collapse, and lack of industrial depth. By 1944, Germany produced impressive numbers of aircraft on paper, but many were never effectively deployed. Production numbers alone do not equal strategic success. The Allies ultimately understood something Germany underestimated. Wars are economic systems before they are military systems. Strategic bombing targeted Germany's industrial foundations: oil, railways, electricity, synthetic fuel, and transport hubs. This was economic warfare at industrial scale. The Allies attacked the Luftwaffe indirectly by destroying the economy supporting it, and Germany lacked the redundancy to absorb those losses. The Soviet Union could lose factories and continue expanding production. Germany could not. The Luftwaffe story offers a powerful lesson for investors, businesses, and governments today. Short-term optimization can destroy long-term survival. Scale matters more than elegance. Logistics wins wars, and resource constraints cannot be ignored. The Luftwaffe did not collapse because Germany lacked courage, technology, or industrial talent. It collapsed because Nazi Germany fundamentally misallocated capital. The regime invested billions of Reichsmarks into tactical aircraft, fragmented production, technological prestige projects, and short war assumptions. The result was catastrophic. Germany entered the largest industrial war in human history without the economic structure required to sustain it. And once the war became a contest of industrial output, fuel supply, logistics, and financial endurance, the outcome became increasingly inevitable. The Luftwaffe's destruction remains one of history's greatest warnings. Superior technology cannot compensate for failed resource allocation. In war and in finance, the side that allocates capital more effectively usually wins. I hope you enjoyed this episode. To make sure you don't miss my future work, subscribe to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.